Oh, Erin, I think she's with Teresa. Okay. Hello and welcome to the June 12th meeting of the Rotary Club of Park Cities. If you would all rise and greet your fellow members.
Yeah, I'll see you tonight. There's a reason that we decided not to do that last year, because they did the same thing.
Okay, if you'll make your way back to your tables, we have a fun surprise for everyone today. So Mary is going to lead us in the invocation and pledge, but Teresa DeFaco has brought us a soloist who she will introduce today for our national anthem. So Mary's here with our invocation.
Good to see you guys. A lot of familiar faces. So Mark, how is your wife doing?
She is doing well, only has 2 more treatments left, and she's hanging in there. She's a trooper.
All right, so continue to keep her in your prayers. That's great. 2 more treatments. That's great. Anybody else, any other concerns that we need to bring up? You think of any? Well, I know a lot of you had some graduates. And you had anybody have graduates this last May from college or high school?
5th grade.
5th grade? Fifth grade. Who knew? Oh, that's great. Great. I had a grandson graduate from Shiner, Shiner Bach. Our son's a family practitioner. And guess where they're going? A&M, that school of choice. I had to have a shout out there. So it's good to see you guys and friendly faces. So let's go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, as we take a deep breath, we relax into this moment of friends and fellowship. Father, every breath we take is a gift. Every day is a gift, and we are grateful. We're so grateful to be here today for the lovely food, the lovely space, Father, we lift up those that are our members that are not in good health. Lift them up to you and wherever they might be. We lift up those who are traveling and travel mercies. Lord, we thank you for our educational system that does provide for our kids to go through 5th grade on up, college grade. And Father, we lift them up and ask that our schools, our institutions of education, higher education, will reflect you and that they will learn and become citizens, good citizens of this country. Father, we lift up our country. We thank you for the 250th anniversary. We are mindful that we are so privileged through our system of government that we lift up all those in leadership in the city, the state, and the national federal government. So, Father, we lift up all those that are serving us in many different ways. And we thank you. We give you all the honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let's pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. I'd just like to introduce to you Erin Lee. She'll be singing on our parade float this year, and she'll be singing right now our national anthem.
Hi, you all. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you today. I feel so honored. I am currently a teacher with backyard music classes where I teach music therapy classes. So I'm just really excited to be in Dallas. My husband and I just moved from Kentucky. So thank you for welcoming us. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, that's a great start to the meeting. Do we have anyone who has good news they want to share? Any happy bucks? Oh, Kit.
I'm very happy that Roger had another birthday this week.
Happy birthday.
But I owe you a candle.
I am so happy I have water. After 2.5 weeks and a big hole in the middle of our living room, they're finishing filling the hole back up this afternoon. I am so happy.
I was expecting you, Alan.
You were? This year, or today, the Legacy of Leadership is very happy to tell everybody that we've got the new coins for Club 250, and we'd like to present the first one to SARAH OLIAI, our beloved president, and maybe she can hold it up for everybody to see. Anybody who has already paid the 250, if you would like to come out afterward at where our we put up our badges, we'll be out there to hand them out. Anybody who hasn't, please consider donating to the Club 250. which benefits North Texas Food Bank.
Hold that up to a light, make sure it's good. Monty wasn't in the room last week, and I forget who said what an amazing job she did last week. Where'd she go? There she is. So I want to say it one more time and thank Monty and her leadership team for putting together just an amazing lunch last week. Thank you, Monty.
Hear, hear. That was a great job, Monty. Thank you.
My wife and I have been sponsoring and educating 4 Filipino children, and the last 2 graduated from university on the 5th.
Wow, congratulations. And Bud next week is going to give us a brief update on our
Right behind you, Alex.
international project where we bought 3D printers for some high schools in Dumaguete City in the Philippines.
Put it in the pot. Okay, I'd like to thank the singer today. It was a wonderful rendition, and I've been watching basketball and hockey for 6 nights in a row. I've never seen so many singers butcher the national anthem like they have, and it was such a pleasure to hear it sung like it's supposed to be sung.
Have her do "Oh Canada."
I wanted to follow behind we have $500 here for the 250 coins from Advance ER to back yours up. So here you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. And I don't know that I can do that as effectively as, Clement did last week where he slapped his, challenge coin down on the podium for everybody. But we've had, I think, how many so far? How many do we know that we've had 250 donations we've gotten so far? Do we know? Okay. So we're making progress. But if you would like to receive a challenge coin, one side of it is the Rotary Club of Park Cities, and then the other side has the flag and the Statue of Liberty and an eagle, and it says America 250, benefiting the North Texas Food Bank. So if you'd like to receive one, make your donation of $250 to the North Texas Food Bank. Thank you. All right, guests. Do we have any guests with us today? All right. Okay. Then we'll move on. So Mark NEACE is highlighting past president Nolan Duck as our marketplace advertiser.
I will say my son Max is here back with us today, helping out with the AV stuff. So I don't really consider him a guest anymore. But yeah. All right. Okay, so as President Sarah mentioned, our marketplace advertiser today is past president Nolan Duck. Nolan is a multiple Paul Harris Fellow, recipient of the Wilbur Hawkins Spirit of Rotary Award, and he's been a member of our club since 2006 and a Rotarian for over 34 years. He founded DBG Advisors, a mergers and acquisitions advisory firm. He is a certified business intermediary, certified exit planning advisor, certified value builder, real estate broker, and past president of the Texas Association of Business Brokers. His firm guides business owners through preparing for sale and the sale of their company. He ultimately wants to help owners be prepared to sell when someone comes calling. He's also written a book called Are You Ready to Sell Your Business? 10 Critical Issues Every Business Owner Must Address to Get Their Business on the Right Path for a Lucrative Exit. He would be happy to have a confidential conversation with anyone who's considering the sale of their business or someone that you might know who needs expert advice and advisory. Please join me in thanking Nolan for his support for the Hub and everything he's done for our club.
Okay, Jack Carpenter with our own foundation report.
Thank you, Madam President, and you're going to be missed. We're going to miss you. Now, you all know this is her last month. You also know that she's challenged us. Now, I'm expecting Ellen to get my challenge coin soon because I was inspired by Clement George last week to get a challenge coin. So I'm going to use one of my other challenge coins, and I'm going to challenge you guys this month for Sarah to be Sarah's hero. Okay? Now, I'm going to double dare you with another challenge coin. If you have not made a contribution to our foundation, please do it this month so we can get to 85% participation per Sarah's challenge to all of us. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, don't worry about the dollar amount. Just participate. Just make a donation so that we can get you on the board and we can get to Sarah's challenge 85%. So are you ready for the double dare? I'm not going to do a triple dog dare if you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to stop at the double dog dare. So here we go. Our report, as of right now, we have 42% participation across 54 members on a goal of 85%. We have a total of 84 participants, and we've raised $16,734. I'm going to ask all those who have a birthday this month, if got your candle, please stand and be recognized. We're going to wish you a happy, happy birthday. So please stand with your candle. Don't be bashful, there's more. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear January 1. Happy birthday to you. Remember, let's be Sarah's hero. Contribute this month.
As Mark KASHAR says, that's one of my OLIAI'S, so help me out. And in honor of, we'll do the raffle here in a little bit, but in honor of the World Cup that's happening here, I've stuck some yellow cards in our deck of cards for the raffle. So there's 3 of them. And unlike it being a warning in soccer, it's actually a good thing here. If you pull a yellow card, your lunch will be free next week. All right. So the grant check presentation, could we have President-elect Mark KASHAR come up, please?
Thank you, Sarah. Before I do that, we have had a fantastic year at the foundation, which Jack is talking about, where our own donations go to our own club's foundation, where we make grants out to Dallas area nonprofits that align with our strategic priorities. We've been able to return over $77,000 to the community for some great projects like 3D printers in the Philippines, like Central Texas flood relief, like restocking our book machine at Jackalow Senior Elementary, like being able to give money to a fantastic organization like the Young Women's Preparatory Organization, which Lynn McBee, we'd like to call you up, and she'll be able to tell you a lot more about the organization so you can see where these funds are going, but we'd love to do a check presentation.
Okay, so KETA, do you have the raffle tickets? If you want to present them to Lynn, Lynn, we ask that you draw 1 ticket out of the hat. And by the way, it's just been Sharpied in yellow in the center, so that's what your yellow card looks like, okay? Okay, we're at $197, and the ticket is 3232. 3232. Who has that ticket? Someone's got it. Oh, there we go. So he gets to try again next week. There's 1 less card in the deck. Thank you, Scott. All right, past President Philip Bankhead.
Thank you, Sarah. I'll second Tom's comment how great last week's Grand Marshal Luncheon was. It was really outstanding. Now, that was all the fun and games. Now it's serious time to start signing up for volunteering for the parade. So you might recall a few years ago how much entertaining the late night talk shows were before they were political and et cetera. So you remember David Letterman had a top 10 list that he was famous for. So I came up with my own top 10 list of why you should volunteer for the parade. Sarah said, unfortunately, we're pressed for time, so here's the top 6 reasons to volunteer. First, this is a lot better way to get your 10,000 steps in for the day instead of just being on a treadmill in a smelly gym. Number 5, you know that the 4th will probably be the coolest day of the year until at least mid-September. So go ahead and take advantage of it. Number 4, there'll be all kinds of candy, more than you can eat, just lying there on the street. Number 3 of the top 6 list. It really is a lot of fun seeing all the people and interacting with people along the way. Number 2, after the parade, you can cut to the front of the line and get an icy pop at the Rotary tent at Centennial Park. And the number 1 reason why you should be a walking or a stationary marshal, it really is the most important and critical job to make sure we have a very safe and fun 4th of July parade. Yeah. So sign up online, or just give me a half a nod or have a tweak your ear, whatever. I'll make sure I'll put you down. Thank you.
It's also on the table. And that is a very important role, is just to make sure that we're walking alongside the parade as it goes along, making sure everybody stays safe. So please sign up if you haven't already. So also for parade announcements are, if you need a new shirt or a hat for the parade, please send your size to Kathleen KLAVITER, and she will make sure that you get your shirt and or your hat. And then dues are past due. So a late fee has now been added to the $25. So please pay as soon as possible, and don't make Paul call you. Let's make Paul's job a lot easier. If you have not paid your dues, just go ahead and reach out, or you can either pay online underneath the store. You don't have to sign in to the club runner. It's just on our website at the store. Go down, find the annual dues, and go ahead and pay online, or you can always bring a check. The awards banquet is Friday, June 26th at Ozona's at 11:45. We try to start that a little earlier just so we have enough time to recognize everybody. And there is a registration and payment link, since we have to RSVP, so we'd like to know how many people are attending. So if you could go ahead and please pay online for that as well. It's $38, and we have to have your RSVP by the 21st, okay? So go ahead and pay so we can get your RSVP, we can have an accurate head count, but most importantly, so we can see you there as we help celebrate the many stars that are in our club. And then there's no Friday meeting on Friday, July the 3rd, because of course, we will be working on the 4th. So no meeting on July the 3rd. And that leads us to our chair of the day. Ed Feuerbach will be introducing our speaker.
Greetings, colleagues and friends. Many of you know that the founding father of Texas is Stephen F. Austin. Stephen had a sister named Emily. I'm about to introduce Emily's 7th great-granddaughter. And she is a native of Freeport, Texas, made her way up to UT Austin and got a degree. And let me give you a little of her history. Lynn McBee has volunteered over 50,000 hours to Dallas nonprofits and charities and civic activities. She's very dedicated to things that are especially around education, homelessness, protecting children, combating domestic violence, and helping underserved students succeed in college. And that last element is critical, and that's what we'll talk about today. She's also been chair of The Bridge, which is a homeless recovery center where she's pushed to make sure that these people not only have shelter, but they have job training so they can get back in the workforce and get on their own feet. She was appointed as czar of that by Mayor Eric Johnson back in 2022. And at this juncture, I'd like to fuss at us, including me, for not making sure she got elected to mayor of Dallas in 2019, because I suspect, this is opinion, that had we elected this woman instead of who we have, we might still have a very vibrant downtown. I'm very confident in that statement, and I suspect after you listen to her, you'll agree. She was a biochemistry grad at UT, and after graduation, she went to New England and helped found New England Biolabs. She was a research scientist. Today, that organization is the head of genomic research around the world, has about 700 employees, and Lynn still remains an active manager and an employee owner. She spent 12 years as CEO of the Young Women's Preparatory Network, the acronym YWPN. And I'm up to here with acronyms, so I'd use the whole thing. But that's a public-private partnership between her organization and several of the independent school districts around Texas. You'll hear more about that in a few minutes. And it's now on 12 campuses. It's the largest network of public all-girls schools in the nation. Lynn has also served on over 100 boards and committees, and I won't bore you with all of them, but I'd like to note that she is chairman emeritus and a life member of the Visiting Nurse Association. And those of you that have been delivering Meals on Wheels all these years can appreciate her work there. I go on down the line here and see she's on the board of the University of Texas College of Natural Sciences, Dedman College at SMU, Children's Medical Center Foundation, the Bullock Texas State History Museum, appropriately, the Caruth Police Institute, and something very near and dear to my heart, the UNT Dallas Business Schools Executive Board. She's also active in the Dallas Breakfast Group. She served as president and ball chairman of the Junior League of Dallas and ball chairman for Cattle Barons Ball. She's been honored so many times, I certainly wouldn't bother you with listing with that. But I can tell you that had you elected her mayor, her campaign website included things like safer neighborhoods, better basic services, protecting the taxpayers, and no dog in Dallas will ever have fleas. And so with that, Lynn, would you please come up and talk to us about your interests?
All right, I will get close to the mic. Well, thank you, and that was a fun introduction. Please. It is an honor to be with y'all today. Someone asked me, have I been to the Park Cities Rotary before? And I was here actually in 2019 when we had a candidate forum. So I want to thank y'all for being engaged in our city, for being engaged in the issues that make a difference in everyday life and big issues, small issues. So I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about Young Women's Preparatory Network. I've got a slide deck with a lot of stats, but I want to talk about how we were started. We were started in 2002, and we were started by a man named Lee Posey. And I'm curious if anybody in the room knew Lee Posey? You did. Palm Harbor Homes. And so he was the founder of Palm Harbor Home, which was a manufacturing mobile home company. But I want to back up and tell you why he founded this organization now 24 years ago. He grew up in a family with a mom, only mother, not a dad. The mother had a third grade education. He had 2 siblings, and it was very hard, and he watched her struggle. She worked multiple jobs. She was a really good mother. She just didn't have an education. And so he was in school, and he dropped out of school, I think, in about 9th grade. And it was actually a minister at his church who said, Lee, you've got to go back to school. You've got to finish your education. You're going to perpetuate kind of what the situation is here. And so he was mentored by this minister at his church, and he went back and he finished high school. And then he ended up getting accepted to college, and he went to college, and he met Sally Posey, which is his wife, and she's still alive. She's 91 years old and lives in Austin, and she's still very active in the Posey Family Foundation, which is still a big stakeholder. And so he got this education, and he was an entrepreneur. He had a business degree, but he was an entrepreneur by spirit, and he founded this company that was mobile manufactured homes, which might be something he grew up in, that he knew, the industry. And at the same time, then he was investing and making really good money. And so he made a lot of money, and he was like, what do I want to do? How do I give back, and how do I help? And so he, took a step back, and he thought, what is something that has impacted my life? And he's written a book, and so I'm getting all this out of the book. And he was like, well, had my mother had more than a third grade education, she wouldn't have struggled. And had she not struggled, our lives would have been very different. And so he, at that time, in the early 2000s, it was not legal for there to be single gender public education. And I'm curious, by show of hands, if there are anyone in the room that went to a private single gender school, like either a Hockaday or an Ursuline or a St. Mark's or a Cistercian or a. So that was always okay in the private. If you could pay for it, you could achieve that and go, but it was never in the public. And so there was a small school in East Harlem that had set up, and it was set up by Ann Tisch of the Tisch family, owned the New York Giants. And so Lee heard of this back in the early 2000s, and it had been going, and Ann had realized this same thing, that girls needed an education. And so she set this little school up in East Harlem, and so Lee and Sally flew up, looked at the school, and said, we want to do this. And things were kind of lining up at that time because we had a wonderful state senator in Kay Bailey Hutchinson. And so in early 2000, the No Child Left Behind Act was signed, and this was an add-on piece of legislation. And so it was Kay Bailey, it was Diane Collins, it was Hillary Clinton, it was another senator I forget at the moment, and it was very Texas because you had Hillary. You had Kay, and then you had Margaret Spellings, Education Secretary, and you had George Bush. So they signed the legislation in 2000 that led to it being legal for there to be single gender public education, meaning that no longer was it just going to be co-ed, that we would be able to separate the sexes and have two different types of school. And so Lee Posey worked with Mike Moses. Some of you might remember Mike Moses, who was the superintendent of Dallas ISD. Very good superintendent, and they worked together and set up the first public all-girls school in the state of Texas, right here in Dallas, which is the Irma Lerma Ronhell Young Women's Leadership School. That was our first school. And so now I'll get a little bit into the slide deck of where we are. But that's the origin story of our work. And so it was, it came from Lee and, him wanting to do something better for people like his mother. And so to kind of back up, we know, and I'm sorry, these are really small statistics, so I'm going to do some reading. But in the state of Texas right now, 62% of Texas students graduate from high school that are prepared to go to college. Rates are very much lower for Black, 50% already, 58% Latinx, and then 70% for white. And so we know that we have a lot of kids that are not ready to go to college that are graduating. 52% of students graduating from low-income households enroll in class that first year after they graduate. So it gets the numbers get even lower. And then that same population, 29% will graduate from college. And so kind of painting the picture of public education. Actually, these numbers are higher than they were. It used to be 19% were 6-year graduation rate. Now we're up to 29. And so we're gaining on that. And we all know that going to college and earning a degree, what that does to your ability to earn a sustainable living wage. And so I'm having to navigate a lot of things here. So Young Women's Preparatory Network was founded on the premise that giving girls in underserved locations an opportunity to go to college. It's that simple. We exist to get girls to and through college so that they can change their lives, their families' lives, their communities' lives. And so our first school did start there and in the Fair Park area at Irma Ronhell. And so our mission statement here, and I'll get to that. We've got so much going on here with all these slides. Let's see. Well, it looks like we're going to go to our work. But our mission is basically to get girls to and through college so that they can earn a sustainable living wage and better their community and their families' lives. So as you look at what our work is, as Ed described, we partner with public ISD. So our first school with Mike Moses was partnering with Dallas ISD. So we went to Dallas ISD and we said, we want to open a single gender school for girls. And so that was our first school. And so we partner with the ISDs and we come with a 7-figure gift when we start, and we come with a model. And our model is that our work is all based on our foundational pillars of health and wellness, responsible leadership, college readiness, and our schools have a focus on STEM. And so you can see in the model, or maybe you can't because it's so tiny up there, that is what we are doing. So going down our list of schools, we started at Ron Hell in 2004 because after we signed the MOU, after we set up the organization in 2002, it took 2 years to get Dallas ISD to agree to open the first public all-girls school. And it's, you know, people are like, well, that's so long, but it was such a different thing. I think there's so many different school options now. There's micro schools, there's career institutes, that now is a much different kind of offerings, if you will. But at that time, it wasn't. It was like you kind of grew up, you went to your neighborhood school, or you went to a private school. So this was different work. So after we were successful in Dallas ISD, then we next went to Austin ISD. So we have we have the Austin school there at Ann Richards. Then we went to San Antonio. Then we went to Lubbock, the Margaret Talkington School for Girls. Then we went to Fort Worth. Then we went to Houston. Then we went to Ysleta. Ysleta is a district in El Paso. Then we went to Midland. Then we went to Aldine, Balk Springs, El Paso. So we've got now 12 public all-girls schools in the state of Texas. We work with 6,200 young women. Our schools are all grades 6 through 12. And so the idea being that we're going to start, and we're going to, as I talked about our foundational pillars, we're going to invest money and we're going to invest our model starting in 6th grade. So when you come in 6th grade, we start talking to you and your family about where you're going to go to college, because we want to make sure that it's not just an academic conversation, that it's a real thing. And so if you've ever toured one of our schools, and I would love to take anyone that would like to go, especially thank you for the generous gift. I feel like I owe everybody a tour of Ron Hell, a little sweet school over in South Dallas, right up against Fair Park. When you walk in that school, you feel college. There are pennants all over the walls. I mean, the girls, we all wear uniforms, and so they've got a dress uniform that they wear. They've got casual days, and the pride and the self-confidence. And that's one of the things that, you know, we know about single-gender education for girls. We know that girls thrive when they're in an environment by themselves and not with boys that can be distracting. And so, well, the research shows it. And I think boys, you raised your hand that you went to an all-boys school. I think that girls can be a distraction too. And so there can be a lot of learning gain for girls that are put in this setting. One thing to note, our schools are about 85% economically disadvantaged. And so when you think about a girl that is smart, has so much opportunity, but she, just by the situation she's born into, it can be a very good home. They just don't have resources. And so that self-esteem is even lower if you don't, you know. And so the good thing about our schools is everybody's wearing a uniform, and that's pretty much an equalizer. It's not somebody's got the fancy shoes and someone's got the fancy jacket. Everybody wears a uniform. So that's kind of an equalizer within our schools. And so 85% being economic disadvantaged, and about 80% being Latinx, and 15% being African American. That's our school in Houston, and then the rest being mixed and white. So we have replicated all over the state. We've got 6,200 young women now that are in our network, and you can see Superintendent Stephanie Olazalde, and she's always saying this. And I think if she was here, she would scold me for saying under-resourced, because she wants us to say these students have been under-championed. It's not that and they have been under-championed. And so it's never about achievement gaps in our schools. It's always been about opportunity gaps. What the Young Women's Preparatory Network does for us is provide those opportunities. So we work very closely. Here is our educational model. We've kind of gone over some of this, but we invest in health and wellness activities. And let's see, academic preparation. We'll start with that. All of our schools are college prep. That means they're pre-AP and AP. That means they're hard. And I'm curious if you've got grandchildren or children that are in an AP, you know, I mean, this is just a next level of rigor. And so our girls come in 6th grade, and we start with the pre-AP. And so it's kind of a very, very hard curriculum. And so what do we provide? We provide tutoring opportunities. We provide test prep, because once you've done all the AP, then you got to sit for the the test to make sure you score high enough for it to get a credit. And so we do test prep, we do tutoring, we actually do professional development for teachers so that they are better at delivering this amount of content. And so our first pillar being in, academic preparation, getting kids ready for college. And so you can see some of our great girls. That is our Lubbock school because they're purple, but you can see how cute that is there. Student opportunities, all of our girls have mentoring, internships, lots of opportunities we like the mentoring. United Way has been a really good supporter of our mentoring. We do one-on-one mentoring where they'll come in and actually meet with the girls monthly. And so the mentoring and the internships and a lot of camps, lots of opportunities where if you're a girl and you're going to Ursuline or Hockaday, your family's going to be able to provide test prep. They can provide all these opportunities. But if you're a girl that's from an urban district, you're not going to have these opportunities. So we bring these opportunities to the girls. Wellness, we talked about that. So we've got a lot of things we do around mental health. We support a lot of sports, if the girls need equipment for sports, mental health intervention, if there is that, talking about being healthy and well, eating a nutritious meal. I mean, we kind of cover everything in that bucket of wellness. Leadership development, one of my favorites. So we have really robust debate team. Our debate team here in Dallas wins state, and they go up against all the private schools. It's and this is not. I have nieces that go to private school in Austin, so it's not a private school versus a public school. I think whatever school fits what you can do and what's best for your kid is what you should do. I just happen to be in the public education world where a lot of times in public ed, it's looked at as not being able to meet up to the same expectations as the private. And so I'm happy to say we compete very strongly there. So a lot of different things in debate. We do a lot of leadership camps and Fit to Lead. We've got all kinds of programs that really do develop our girls. One of the things, too, if you were walking through one of our schools and you're seeing the pennants on the wall, you're also going to see tons of clubs. And so all of our girls get to lead a club if they'd like to lead a club. We've got so many clubs, everything from drama to music to science club to debate, everything. And so everybody gets to be a leader. And so that's another kind of leadership development opportunity is setting up a club. And we'll support that. And then STEM focus. Being a biochemistry graduate, I want to make sure that girls get into STEM. Right now, 40% of our girls graduating from our schools across the state are going and declaring a STEM major. Now, they're not graduating at 40%, and so that's something we're working on. How do we get girls to persist through? And there's a lot of interventions. It's it's honestly tutoring, and it's asking for help, and it's a lot of things like that, small, micro grants, different things. But we have a partnership with UT Southwestern, so we have some of our girls that go over, and they actually do research in the lab. And funny thing, they'll come, and then we have a presentation, and they speak to the group. And what they don't realize is the skills that they've gotten through that internship at UT Southwestern, they could go out and be a research lab tech and probably make $35,000 or $40,000. Now, is that going to sustain their family? No. So that's why we need to keep. But they're learning real skills, and it's really fun to watch them come and present, and their families come, and these are amazing opportunities for these young women. So a lot of STEM camps, a lot of internships with UT Southwestern, who's been a great focus, and you can see one of our great gals there. Professional development, I was talking about earlier, this is something we do for all of our teachers. So you can imagine if you've got 6,000 girls, you've got 12 schools, you've got a lot of teachers. And we've got some of the best teachers. We have a teacher excellence fund, and so we award teachers that have gone above and beyond, and it's a nomination process, and we actually give them, we give money to the school, and then we give them a grant. And it is just a beautiful thing to be able to celebrate teachers, because teachers, that's where it's at. And so we do a lot of professional development. We will send them to AP training at Rice University if they need to, if they bring us an opportunity, you're like, I want to get better at this, we're going to pay for that. And that's a little bit different. I think a lot of nonprofits in the education space, they're going to invest in the student, which is what we're doing with our girls. And we want to do that. But we know that the first line of person that's working with that student is that teacher. So we want that teacher to be at top of her game, and also for her or him to feel invested in. And so we really take a lot of pride in being able to do a lot of professional development for our teachers. And then we've got 1 million community partnerships. Everybody in the world wants to partner with our girls, and we love it. So we've got lots of partnerships. I mentioned United Way. We've got a lot of corporate partnerships. Texas Instruments has been an amazing partner for our work. We, our last school that we set up was our Balk Springs. And how many of you know where Balk Springs and Pleasant Grove? Okay, because sometimes people are like, I didn't know that was part of Dallas ISD, and it is. Very kind of southeast area. And Texas Instruments came alongside us to make a very large investment. So Texas Instruments and us have gone in and invested in this school, grades 6 through 12, as all of them are, and we're growing it out. We're now going to be up to grade 10, because we add 2 grades per year. And we had our recent meeting over there to do a kind of a update, how are things going? And while we were there, the people from Texas Instruments Foundation said, they're just blown away because we're closing gaps. The girls are strong and, just talking about college. And this is an area where nobody goes to college. There might be a 3% graduation rate from college. And so the intervention we're doing is really starting to pay off, and the girls are talking about where they want to go, and they're dreaming, and they're, and they're seeing something that wasn't possible. And so it kind of halfway through the meeting, they said, well, our board meeting, our Texas Instruments board meeting, not the foundation, but the big board has their board meeting every quarter, and we would like to hold it at your school. You should have seen. So in the fall, in September, the board of directors of Texas Instruments is going to come over to Balk Springs STEAM Academy and do their board meeting and talk about a pride point for the girls, a pride point for the teacher, the principal, everybody. It was I still have cold chills right now thinking of it. And so it's exciting to have these great corporate partnerships, these nonprofit partnerships. We have a lot. This is hard work. I always use the word intervention, because if we can intervene and we can start adding the services on and we can start identifying what the needs are, and we've been at this now 22 years with our first school opening, and so we're really good at, we know what they're going to need in health and wellness. We know what they're going to need in the leadership development. We know what they're going to need in college readiness. And we know what they're going to need in STEM, but there's always stuff that we don't think of. We have uniform lockers. We've got girls that, they can't afford their uniform, so we're going to do that. And so we're always filling gaps. And so these interventions, so if you have a nonprofit and you think, well, my gosh, this is the neatest thing I've ever heard of, they're doing tutoring and something, would you bring the opportunity to us, because we have a lot of partnerships where people have really good things, and we're willing to try it if it's going to help our girls succeed. So lots of community partnerships. And then the biggest piece, college advising. And so Lee Posey was lucky that he had someone that saw him and said, hey, you need to get back to school. And not only do you need to get back to school, but you need to go to college. And so that minister played this kind of college advising role for Lee. So what we do at each of our schools, we put a college advisor, and they have a second college advisor. So that's something that a lot of parents will pay for. You might pay for, it's called College Track, I think. And so we know within Dallas ISD, one counselor will have a caseload of 300 students. And so we can't, it's too big a number there. And so we pay for that college success advisor to start working with their girls and their families, and then we have another person that supports that person. And they start in 6th grade talking about what their interests are, where they might want to go to school, and just leading and what's it going to cost, and how we're about the best fit, and really leaning the family and socializing and getting them used to what college is. And then what we do, every year we have our girls visit a college. So in 6th grade, if you're going to Irma Hill, you're going to Balk Springs, you'll go over to SMU, you'll go to UTD, we need to get to UNT, you'll go to TCU, and we'll get the girls on the campus so they can actually, because you can talk about college, but if you've never been on it, your parents haven't ever, and you're coming home to a household where Spanish is what's being spoken, so we get girls in a bus, we take them, and all of these universities have been great partners because our girls are smart and they persist and they graduate from college, and they actually really want our girls to attend their school. So we don't have any problems getting the colleges to say, come to do a tour. And so in 6th grade, and then we grow it out from 7th grade. And so we continue to just add on different components every year, but starts with look at what college is. Look at what a dorm is. Look at where you would eat lunch. And so kind of taking that student on a journey. And then in the summer, we have camps every year, and we've got camps for the parents where they come and they talk about, saving or, what it would be like to send your daughter to college. And in the Latinx culture, the girl going away from home is a very hard thing, and we want to respect everybody's culture, and we don't want to put our ideals on them, but we work with them to let them see the long game, that if we can send their girl off to college and she doesn't stay home and her brother maybe has the opportunity to go to college, what it's going to mean for the family. And so we've done over the last 20 years some amazing work, and now we have the dads of the girls, the Latino girls, that come back and actually talk to the other dads. So it's like, let me tell you how this is going to go, and let me tell you why this matters, and let me tell you how this plays out. And so, we can talk about it, but when someone that's walked in those shoes, that was scared, that didn't want their daughter to go to college, comes back and says, hey, you need to do this, then so we've perfected a lot. So the college advising piece is the biggest piece. So we pay for the college advisor. We pay for all the test prep. There's a lot of ACT, SAT test prep. We pay for all those buses. We pay for lunches. We pay for whatever it is that's going to get the girls. We have girls that, our girls are amazing, and I'll get to some of the results in a second. But they'll get accepted to tons of colleges, and we have a lot of times they'll get accepted to ones in the Northeast, which I'm really proud of, some of the Ivies, and the families just, it's one thing, it's like, well, let's do a Zoom and we can show you what the campus will look like. And so a lot of times we'll pay for the family to go up and actually take a tour and get to see where her daughter's going to be and get to kind of understand it. We had one situation at our San Antonio school, and I remember the girl got into Yale, her granddaughter got into Yale, the grandmother had raised the granddaughter. And so I get a call from the principal, and she's like, Lynn, she goes, we're going to have to get the family, get the grandmother, we're going to have to get them up to Yale because they're not understanding. I mean, the grandmother was sitting there trying to figure out, because she had made every meal for her granddaughter. I mean, and how she was going to get enough food up to, and we were like, we're going to buy you a meal card. But you would, and you think, and you have to think, my gosh, here is someone who's thinking, I can't prepare, I can't play the role that I've always played for my granddaughter. What are we going to do? I'm scared. So let me have her go to St. Mary's or Trinity, great schools. But my God, she had the opportunity. So anyway, we flew them up to Yale. They met, they walked around. The girl, I'm sure she's graduated now from Yale because this was probably 6 years ago. But we've got stories like this all over. And so we play that role of investing in things that we know are going to get our girls all the way through college. And a lot of times you got to bring the parents on. The parents have got to be on that journey. It can't be the girl just wanting to do it and the parents aren't on board. So we start working with those parents too. So college advising is kind of the nut of our work. And so since we've been around for now 24 years, you can imagine we have a lot of college graduates. And our graduation rate, which I'll get to in a second, but it's double the national average of girls that would come from low-income houses, not English speaking. So we're blowing it out of the water in terms of our girls graduating from college. We're at about 79%, which is amazing. So I'm like, how do we get the other 21% through? So we did a survey probably 4 years ago to figure out why are our girls, when they get to college, not persisting? Like, why are they going home? What's going on? And it was really three things. And the first thing is something that applies to any student. It doesn't matter your background. It's like you're not getting the advising and you're changing majors. And so you have a lot of college credits that don't matter to any degree that you're on. The difference between a family that can afford to send their girl to school if she changes her major is they can continue to pay for that change. A girl that's on a scholarship whose family can't, when they start making those changes and their scholarship dollars run out. So it was scholarship dollars ending because of people changing their majors and maybe not getting the right advising, and that happens, right? We change our majors when we get to college. We think we need to do something, then we change. And so that was the first thing. The second thing was small amounts of money. And I'll tell you another story. This was probably, I've been leading Young Women's Prep now 12 years, half the time that we've been in existence. Our first CEO was Liza Lee. Some of y'all might know Liza Lee. She was the first, she was the headmistress at Hockaday, so she was our first CEO. And then Carmen Neely, and then myself. About 10 years ago, kind of early into all this, I get a call from one of our students that's at the University of Miami. And our girls are resourceful. I'm like, how did you find my number? Because I think she even called me on my cell. And she said, Ms. McBee, she goes, I just want to tell you that she was one of our scholars. We have some scholarships we give. I'm not going to need my scholarship for the last semester. She said, because I've got to go home and work for that semester because my dad had a blowout in his truck and he needed new tires, and it was a construction worker. And if he didn't have tires on his truck, he could not get to work. And I said, well, what are we talking about? And she said, well, it's about $1,500 for all 4 tires. Maybe it was a construction vehicle. And she said, but I promise I'm going to come back. I've only got 1 semester. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like you are going to leave college for a $1,500 tire crisis. It is a crisis, right? The dad couldn't use his truck. He couldn't get to work. That was their livelihood. What was she going to do? She was going to go home. She was probably going to be a manager at Chick-fil-A because they pay well as a manager and she's super smart. And she was going to do that. And she thought she'd go back to college, but we know when they leave. And so our organization wrote a check to wherever the tire place was. The dad got the tires. She graduated from college. And so these are small, they're small amounts of money. It's small things that throw our girls off. So the second thing was, we got 5 minutes, micro grants. And then the third thing was social emotional. I don't belong here, imposter syndrome. This is really hard. And so we have a whole alumni program now that works to give micro grants up to $600. And if there are special circumstances, we'll go higher to keep girls in school. Then we've got a whole, we work with Meadows Mental Health Policy Institute. And so we've got a whole framework around that for the social emotional. And then the college advising, we are just in touch with our girls more on that. And so our results, and they're so tiny, and I'm going to have to pull them up here because I can't read them there either. And this is kind of the best slide ever here because it really talks about how our outcomes are. Okay, so let me get to that because I can barely read it. And Ed was so nice. He had done a PowerPoint and fixed all this. And sorry. So since we were founded, 100% of our girls have graduated from high school. 100% have been accepted to a 4-year college. Yay. And we have had offers of more than $800 million in academic and merit scholarships. 97% of our girls go on to college. That means they're graduating, they're accepted, and 97% go, which is 79% are graduating from college, which is really 2.5 times the national average. And at our first school here in Dallas, 92% of the girls are graduating from college. And so those are some of the results. Some of the other things real quick. We've got Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Lubbock, and San Antonio. Those 5 schools are National Blue Ribbon schools, and 3 of them are 2 times. All of our schools are class or an A. You know, that's our accountability ranking. And then our schools are all on the U.S. News and World Report Best of. Our founding school, Armoron Hill, it's number 2 in the state of Texas. It's number 21 in the nation. And I go back to our founding school because it's where it all started. It's been very successful. We've replicated across the state. Our girls are going to college. They're graduating from college. They're going on to law school. And so having, I guess the top line in all this is, thank goodness Lee Posey founded this because this has been amazing. And his and Sally is always like, just, pinch me. I can't, the impact has been huge. But when you provide a path and you provide opportunity and you stay with it, you got to persist with it. You can't just throw a little money at it and think it's going to all be okay. You've got to stay with it. You've got to persist with it. You've got to mentor. You've got to walk alongside people. The results are amazing. And honestly, I think that we did a calculation and we probably invest about $700 a year per girl. And so what a small amount of money for a huge impact. I mean, you can't put a price on what it's going to do for these girls and their families. And so thank you for having me today. We were kind of all over the board with the slides, but it was an honor to be here and appreciate your $5,000 that's going to go far in helping our girls. Yeah.
To gain acceptance, what is the standard to gain acceptance?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So of our 12 schools, 10 have a rubric for entrance. And so usually what happens in elementary school is a principal, teachers will say, okay, this is a girl that's scoring high, she's showing up for school, she's all these things. And so they'll say, you should really look at this school. 2 of our schools in our network, our El Paso school and our Balch Springs school, are neighborhood schools. Much like most of us that went to public ed, you got up, you went to the school that was down the street. They're attendance zone schools. guess what? We're seeing gaps close like crazy there too. So 10 have a rubric for entrance, and then the other 2 are neighborhood schools. So that's a great question. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much.
Yes. No, thank you.
And Lynn said she'd stay back or behind and ask for some questions if anybody has questions afterwards, because I know y'all do. And Lynn, thank you so much for being here today. Our club always places a book at the Jack Lowe Senior Elementary School in honor of each speaker. So thank you so much for being here today. And next week is Trey Gullidge and Abby Launton in Vision, and the chair of the day is past President Lee Wagner. And the 4-way test, we have Jeff Sheehan.
And now the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
It is close to being done.
I told Philip, I said, I haven't signed up because I'm exercising past president's prerogative. I'm not town.
I was last year. That's the first year in forever that I wasn't at the parade. Anyway, I had an opportunity to go to the place I really wanted to go. So I did.
You should, yeah, absolutely. All right.
See you.